Scene 1, A Normal Day Begins. It was a bright morning in Delhi. The city was full of life. People walked fast on streets. Cars made noise. Shops opened. Everything looked normal. But something strange was about to happen. Something that would change the world forever. In a small room, 17-year-old Arav, a smart but quiet boy, sat at his computer. He loved coding and solving puzzles. His room was filled with wires, monitors, books, and posters of space and robots. He didn't know that this day would make him part of something bigger than he could ever imagine. Scene 2, The First Signal. At 9:14 a.m., it started. Phone stopped working. The internet went down. TV screens turned black. Radio became silent. Arav stared at his laptop. The code he was writing froze. Then the screen went white. Slowly, strange symbols appeared. Not numbers. Not letters. Something else. He tried to restart his system. Nothing worked. He opened his backup system. Same result. Then his phone lit up for a second. One last message flashed on it. The test has begun. And it went dark. Scene 3, Global Confusion. All around the world, the same thing happened. In New York, the stock exchange screens glitched. In Tokyo, trains stopped midway. In London, planes were grounded. In Cape Town, power grids failed. In Rio, people gathered in panic. Governments were confused. No one knew if it was a virus, a hack, or an attack. Emergency meetings were called, but they couldn't talk to each other. Satellites were offline. GPS was gone. The Earth had gone silent. Scene 4, Behind the Moon. At NASA, a few systems were still running on old backups. Dr. Alina Morrow, a senior scientist, was checking the hidden feed from the moon's dark side. What she saw made her cold with fear. Behind the moon, there was something big. Very big. A massive object, black as space, was slowly rotating. It wasn't a natural rock. It wasn't from Earth. It was a ship, but it didn't attack. It didn't move toward Earth. It just stayed hidden. Why? Scene 5, Arav notices the pattern. Back in Delhi, Arav was scanning code history. He had saved data on a local drive. He noticed something strange. The system shutdowns were happening in a pattern. They were not random. Every shutdown followed a sequence. First communication, then power, then movement, then defense. He realized someone was turning off Earth piece by piece. Like a machine, he shared his findings on a private network of coders. Most didn't reply. But one message came back. We see it too. Stay hidden, stay silent. Scene 6, The Silent Night. By evening, cities were dark. No power, no internet. People lit candles. They sat in confusion, fear, and silence. Cars stopped. Machines stopped. Even satellites in space were floating. Dead. For the first time in history, the whole planet was quiet. Some thought it was war. Some thought it was the end. Some prayed. Arav sat on his roof, looking at the stars. And then he saw it, a red line in the sky, slowly moving. Not falling, not flying, just scanning. Scene 7, the broadcast. At exactly midnight, every screen on Earth turned on. Even the broken ones. TVs, phones, computers, smartwatches, everything showed the same thing. A face appeared. But it wasn't human. It was made of shifting metal and light. Its eyes were like stars. Its voice came in every language at once. It spoke just one sentence. You have been observed. You have failed before. You will not fail again. Then the face vanished, and Earth was silent again. Scene 8, Underground Talks. The next morning, Arav received a strange file on his offline system. It came from an unknown source. The file name, test_logs_0131 . Inside, he found something shocking. It was a list of test zones. Different parts of the world were marked. His city was one of them. Then he saw a line of code that looked familiar. It matched the strange symbols from his screen. He realized something terrifying. This was not a takeover. This was a test. But of what? Scene 9. The resistance begins. Some humans started forming secret groups. Scientists, soldiers, hackers, and normal people. They began calling themselves the Resistance. They believed this was not the first time Earth was tested. Old ruins, cave drawings, and hidden texts talked about sky gods and the cleansing. They believed humanity had failed before. Maybe we were wiped and restarted, but this time they would fight. This time they would evolve. Scene 10. Strange devices appear in oceans and forests. Huge metal objects started rising from the ground. In the Amazon, a device rose like a tower, glowing blue. In the Arctic, a cube floated over the ice. In Sahara, a black sphere hovered above the sand. They didn't attack. They didn't move. But they changed the environment. Birds flew away. Earthquakes happened. The air changed. Scientists tried to study them. Anyone who got too close disappeared. Scene 11. Arav's nightmare. That night, Arav had a dream. He was standing in a city of glass, where humans had wings and walked in the sky. A voice whispered in his mind, "You are not what you were. You are what you choose to become." He woke up sweating, and then he saw something on his hand, a small mark, glowing faintly, a mark he didn't have yesterday. Scene 12. Final revelation at a secret base. Dr. Morrow put together old data and new patterns. Her theory shocked everyone. They're not here to destroy us. They're here to change us. She believed the aliens had come to push humans into the next level. Evolution through pressure. Those who passed would survive. Those who didn't would vanish. This was not war. It was selection. Final scene. Part 1. Cliffhanger. Rav looks at the glowing mark on his hand. The patterns he saw in the alien code. They match it. He connects his system to a hidden frequency. Suddenly, the screen flashes. Words appear. Subject, human, potential, high. Begin phase 2. The mark on his hand glows brighter. He looks at the sky. He whispers, "We won't surrender. We'll evolve." Screen cuts to black. To be continued. It was the morning after the silence. The world had not recovered. People were still scared. No news, no answers. Only confusion. Then it happened again. All screens turned on. Phones, radios, TV, laptops, even ones that had no power. A soft, humming sound came first. Then the same glowing face appeared. This time, it spoke slowly, in calm, clear voices, in every human language. "You are not alone in this universe. You never were. You have always chosen war, greed, chaos. This is your final cycle. Evolve or disappear." And the message ended, but something changed. Now the machines had started moving. Scene 2. Machines rise in many parts of the world. Strange alien machines, silent until now, began to rise, spin, and glow. In Russia, one floated above. Lake and changed the water to mist. In Africa, one buried itself under sand and created magnetic fields. In Australia, trees near the machines grew fast. Too fast. A scientist in Brazil went near one machine with a drone. The drone melted. The world realized, these are not just machines. They are something else. A test? A transformation tool? No one knew. Scene 3. Arav joins the network in Delhi. Arav sat with his laptop, the glowing mark still on his hand. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. He had not told his parents. They were too worried about food and power. His offline network opened again. More people had joined now. All of them had seen the same mark. All of them had been chosen in some way. They called themselves node carriers. One message blinked. On Arav's screen, "We're building a new grid, not power, not internet, something deeper. Join us." He clicked yes. Scene 4. Governments react, the world leaders were in panic. Some believed it was an alien invasion. Some wanted to launch nuclear weapons, but nothing worked. Missiles would not fly. Jets would not start. Anything with advanced tech was locked by an unknown signal. Old tech radios, cars from the 80s, printed maps were the only things still working. One leader said on live radio, "They took our technology, but not our minds. We fight with what we have." But others knew this was not a war they could win by fighting. Scene 5: a child who sees too much in a small village in Kenya. A 6-year-old girl named Nia began to speak in a language no one had ever heard. At first, her parents were afraid. Then they noticed animals started following her: birds, cats, even a wild fox sat near her silently. She drew strange symbols in the dirt, the same ones from the machines. One symbol she drew meant warning. That night, a machine appeared near her village. The villagers ran. She stood and whispered to it, and the machine stopped. Scene 6: first human change in the resistance hideout beneath Berlin. A soldier named Jonas was injured badly during a supply run. There was no medicine, no doctor. He lay in pain. Then his body started healing fast. Within hours, bones set, wounds closed. He stood again. Everyone stared. Jonas simply said, confused, "I don't know what happened, but I feel stronger, clearer, like I can hear things I couldn't before." The scientists started testing him. His blood was changing. This was the first real sign. Humans were evolving. Scene 7: Arav's first vision. Arav was sitting alone, reading data from the hidden network. Suddenly, everything around him faded. The room became white. Time seemed to stop. A figure appeared, made of light and shadow. It didn't speak, but Arav understood. The being showed him Earth thousands of years ago. Humans were small, weak, fighting each other. Then, it showed great cities in the sky, not built by humans. The message was clear: you are a project. You were always meant to grow, but you stopped. Now we push. Arav returned to the real world, gasping. Scene 8: conflict begins. Not everyone liked the change. Some humans saw the evolved ones as dangerous. In the southern U.S., a group called Pure Earth started hunting people with marks. They believed evolution was a disease sent by aliens. One group captured a girl with a glowing mark. They tried to hurt her, but her eyes turned blue, and the ground beneath cracked. Attackers ran. The world was not only changing, it was dividing. Scene 9: the hidden voice back at NASA. Dr. Elena Morrow received a strange signal from deep space. It was not from the ship behind the moon, but farther. It was faint, broken, but one line was clear: "You're not the only ones being tested." She realized these aliens were not just testing Earth. They were testing many planets, and maybe not all had passed. She whispered, "We are in a cosmic exam." Scene 10: machine awakens in India in the mountains of Himachal. A massive alien device began to shake. Locals called it the sky egg. It opened like a flower. Inside, floating light orbs hovered. The army surrounded the area, but when they tried to approach, their weapons stopped working. Then the orbs flew over the soldiers and vanished. The soldiers didn't die, but when they returned to base, they were different. They heard things. They felt things. One soldier said, "The machine looked at our minds." Scene 11: Arav's choice. The network gave Arav access to a secret terminal, a portal into alien code. System asked, "Are you ready to change?" He paused. He thought about his parents, his normal life, his fear. Then he typed, "Yes." The screen glowed. Suddenly, information rushed into his mind. Images, sounds, codes, visions. He fainted. When he woke up, the mark on his hand had grown. It now showed a second ring. Scene 12: suspense ending, cliffhanger, somewhere deep in space. The alien ship watched. A small red light blinked next to Earth's name. A voice, calm and mechanical, spoke inside the ship. Node 0113 progressing. Resistance forming. Accelerate Phase 2. Back on Earth, Arav woke up at midnight, sweating. Outside his window, 3 drones were hovering silently. They were watching him, he whispered. We are not alone, but we are not weak. Screen cuts to black dot to be continued. It began just before sunrise. In 3 parts of the world, Alaska, Siberia, and the Himalayas, the sky turned red-orange like fire. People came out of their homes, thinking it was an aurora or maybe a volcano, but it was not. The clouds started spinning. Lightning flashed from inside them, but no thunder came. Instead, a deep humming sound filled the air. Then from the sky came a beam of light, long and wide, that touched the ground silently. Where the beam touched, the rules of nature began to break. Scene 2. Gravity is a lie in Alaska. A small town near the forest suddenly floated 10 feet above the ground. Cars hovered. Trees stretched upward like rubber. People screamed in shock. One girl dropped her phone. But it didn't fall. It floated and slowly spun in mid-air. In Siberia, animals stopped moving. Time froze in short bursts. Birds hung mid-air for 5 seconds, then snapped forward suddenly. In the Himalayas, oxygen levels dropped to half in just minutes, but the plants grew twice as fast. These were test zones, but tests for what? Scene 3. Arav enters the fire zone. Arav received a new message through the resistance network. You are now level 2. Enter the red zone. Survive, learn, evolve. The coordinates were near Spiti Valley, a mountain area in India. The moment he entered the zone, his ears popped. The wind moved like water. His heartbeat slowed. He tried to take a step, but the ground shifted under him. Then he saw a boy running, but not on the ground. He was running through the air, stepping on invisible paths. The boy looked back and said, "If you want to live, forget what you know." Scene 4. Jonas and the Ice Labyrinth in Siberia. Jonas, the soldier who had healed quickly in Part 2, was dropped into the center of a frozen lake. The machine above him glowed red. Suddenly, the ice cracked, forming a moving maze. Walls of ice shifted like a puzzle. Jonas had no map. He ran through narrow paths that opened and closed at random. He saw others in the maze, some screaming, some trapped under ice. His instincts guided him. Then he heard a voice in his head. Not the strong, not the smart, only the adaptive. Survive. He kept moving. Scene 5. Nia walks through time in Kenya. Little Nia touched a stone near her village. The world around her changed instantly. She was now walking through past versions of Earth, ancient jungles, cities of light, massive beasts, and flying humans. She was not afraid. The voice spoke again. You are the memory. You carry the key. She saw images of other planets, other species. Some had evolved, others had vanished. She whispered, they didn't pass the test. Scene 6. First deaths. Not everyone could survive the test zones. In Alaska, a group of trained soldiers entered the gravity-broken forest. They wore special suits and had weapons. Within minutes, they were all gone. Some were pulled into the sky and vanished. Others were stuck floating and couldn't breathe. One tried to shoot. The bullet stopped mid-air and reversed, hitting him. Their cameras recorded everything. The last footage showed a tree growing through a man's chest in seconds. Scene 7. Arav meets the trial keeper in the Spiti zone. Arav reached a large stone gate floating mid-air. He stepped forward. Time slowed. A figure appeared, not human, but not alien either. A face made of stone, light, and dust. It spoke without sound. You are the curious one, the code reader, the untrained mind. Here is your test. Solve this gate. Open it without touching it. The gate was full of symbols. Arav stared. His mark glowed. He felt pain in his head, data rushing in, patterns, languages. His fingers moved in the air, like typing invisible keys. Click. The gate opened. The voice said, "Level 3 begins." Scene 8. The fire trial. Jonas reached the center of the ice maze. There was no exit. Then a fireball appeared in front of him, hovering, spinning. It spoke through heat and color. To survive flame, become flame. He didn't understand. Then the walls caught fire. The ice didn't melt, it burned. He jumped through flames, feeling heat and cold at once. His skin turned red, then silver. He felt stronger, faster, like something inside him had awakened. He didn't scream. He didn't stop. He walked through the fire and came out alive. Scene 9. Earth watches. Helpless outside the test zones. People watched helplessly. News stations could only show drone footage from far away. Some called it miracles. Some called it alien cruelty. Some called it Judgment Day. Religion split. Governments broke. New cults formed. One man said on pirate radio, "We are ants, being watched by giants." But others believed, "We are being pushed to become more. This is not the end. It's the next chapter." Scene 10. Arav sees the machine's heart inside the floating cave. Arav reached the core of the alien structure. It was not metal. It was alive, pulsing like a heart, breathing. He reached out. Blast of memories hit him, not his own. Lives of other civilizations, all tested. All either evolved or erased. He fell to his knees, shaking. But then, something changed. His hand passed through the heart. His body glowed blue, and his mind became quiet, focused. He understood now. This is not a war. It's a program. Scene 11. Secret resistance lab discovery. At a resistance lab in Argentina, a young scientist found something shocking. Old Earth ruins from 12,000 years ago had similar symbols as the alien machines. They were not new. She spoke on the hidden network. The tests happened before. Earth failed. We were reset. This time, we might be ready. The resistance began building their first human-made test zone to train people. Time was short. Phase 3 would begin soon. Scene 12. Suspense ending. Cliffhanger. Arav returned from the test zone, but he was not the same. He moved faster. He felt other people's emotions. He could hear machines breathe. He typed a message to the resistance. "I passed. I saw the heart. We are inside a code. A living code." At that moment, hundreds of machines across the planet powered up. All of them. Phase 2 complete. Begin evolution protocol. From the sky, a second ship appeared. Bigger. Kurga. Closer. Arav whispered, "The real test is just starting." Screen goes black. To be continued. Scene 1. Aftermath of the evolution protocol. Skies were no longer quiet. The second ship hovered above Earth's atmosphere, massive, dark and humming with energy. Arav stood on a rooftop in Delhi, staring up at it. His hand glowing. With 2 rings of light, pulsed softly. Around the world, millions felt the change. Some were scared. Some were hopeful. News was silenced. Governments had lost control. Only the resistance remained. Scene 2. Resistance rally in an underground base beneath Berlin. Jonas gathered the leaders of the resistance. Maps, data, and live feeds covered the walls. Jonas spoke with urgency. The evolution protocol isn't just about survival. It's a weapon, a way to force us to change or die trying. We have to fight back, not with guns, with mind and body. Alina Morrow, the NASA scientist, joined the meeting remotely. "I have decoded part of the alien signal. It's a challenge, a puzzle designed to push human evolution. If we don't adapt fast, the aliens will control us." Scene 3. Arav's mission. Arav received his orders. "You must enter the heart of the second ship. Find their core intelligence. Learn how to stop the evolution protocol if it goes wrong." He felt the weight of the task. At the resistance base, The network connected him to Nia and Jonas. Together, they planned their infiltration. Scene 4, Pure Earth. Attacks. The extremist group Pure Earth saw the second ship as a curse. They launched attacks on marked humans, the evolved ones. In small towns across America and Europe. They burned homes, chased people, and spread fear. Nia's village was one of the first targeted, but Nia had changed. With calm eyes, she raised her hand. Birds circled the attackers. A soft, strange language filled the air. The attackers fled, terrified. Scene 5. Jonas's new power. Jonas discovered he could sense machines, feel their energy, predict their moves. During a raid on a Pure Earth camp, Jonas led the evolved humans. He used his powers to disable weapons remotely. The battle was fierce, but the resistance won. Jonas knew this was just the beginning. Scene 6. Arav boards the ship. The ship's outer shell was smooth black and cold. Arav and his team entered through a hidden hatch. Inside was a maze of corridors filled with lights and symbols. No weapons worked here. Their minds were tested instead. Visions appeared, memories from past civilizations, warnings, failures. Arav's mark burned bright. Scene 7. The core intelligence. Deep inside, they reached the core, a glowing orb, surrounded by spinning rings of light. The orb spoke in a calm voice. You have come far, but are you ready to decide your own fate? Arav stepped forward. We want freedom, not control. The orb pulsed. Evolution is inevitable. Fight it and you fail. Accept it and you change. Scene 8. The choice. Arav faced the choice to accept the full evolution protocol and become something new, stronger, but different, or to reject it, risking extinction but keeping human freedom. Jonas and Nia waited outside, ready to help. Arav looked deep inside himself. He thought of his family, his home, the world that was changing. Scene 9. The decision. With a deep breath, Arav spoke. We fight, because fighting means we choose our own path. The orb glowed brightly. The ship trembled. Then you are truly human. The evolution protocol changed. It became a challenge, not a command. Scene 10. Humans fight back outside the ship. The resistance launched their final push. With new powers and understanding, humans fought alien machines. Cities became battlefields of mind and matter. The sky lit up with energy and fire. Jonas led the charge. Nia used her connection with nature. Arav hacked the alien network from inside. Scene 11. Turning the tide. The alien machine started to falter. The second ship began to lose power. The skies cleared. People everywhere felt a new strength, hope. Scene 12. New dawn. The battle was not over, but the first victory was theirs. Arav looked to the horizon. The sun rose over a changed Earth, a world where humans didn't surrender, a world where humans evolved, but on their own terms. Screen fades with message, to be continued. Scene 1. After the first victory. Had been 3 days since the resistance stopped the full launch of the evolution protocol. The second ship still floated above Earth, silent now. Not attacking, but no one trusted it. People were scared. The world had changed too fast. Some cities were destroyed. Others had evolved buildings that moved with sunlight. And yet, there was something new in the air. Hope. Arav sat in a resistance base in Heimikal, watching the sky. The rings on his hand now glowed constantly, but deep inside, he felt it. This is not over. The real change is only beginning. Scene 2. Machines underground in the Sahara Desert. A research team found a metal cube the size of a house. Half buried, half alive. As they dug around it, it woke up. Not violently, it just opened. Inside was not a weapon. It was a lab. Walls displayed DNA sequences, brain scans, and energy patterns. A screen turned on. The message said, Phase 3. Human-directed evolution begins. The team didn't know whether to celebrate or run. Scene 3. Arav builds the first node Arav. Got access to alien code patterns from the ship, using parts from broken alien machines and human technology. He and a few engineers created a small tower. That it was not a weapon, that it was a human evolution. Node, a place where marked people could train, meditate, and evolve safely, but it was risky. Arav warned the group, "This is not magic, this is pressure. Your mind and body will fight. Some may not survive." Still, people came willingly. The first human-made evolution center was now active. Scene 4. Human divides grow as humans began to evolve in groups. The world split further. Evolvers, those who trained inside nodes, gaining powers like faster learning, healing, and perception. Naturals, those who refused any change, wanting to keep old Earth as it was. The broken, people who entered node zones and lost control. Their bodies changed, but their minds couldn't handle it. Governments fell. Cities turned into zones. There was no country anymore, only regions of belief. Scene 5. Nia's vision. Nia sat near a glowing tree in her village, a tree that grew from one of the alien seeds. When she touched it, time stopped again. She was shown the final vision. Planets, hundreds of them. Some alive, some destroyed. All tested. And at the center of it all, a massive living AI called the Architect. It had watched Earth since the first human fire. Now it was watching her. "You are not just a child. You are a signal, and the time is running out." She opened her eyes, and the mark on her hand became a full circle. Scene 6. Jonas trains the fighters. Jonas took charge of training the resistance warriors inside the new node facility in Brazil. He developed a fighting style using evolved reflexes and deep emotional control. The fighters could dodge bullets, sense danger, and use energy fields from their bodies, but the cost was high. Some cracked mentally. Others lost their sense of self. Jonas told them, "Power without purpose is just noise. Use your change with discipline, or you'll become the very thing we're fighting." Scene 7. The rise of the echelon in the shadows of evolved zones. A group of highly modified humans called themselves the Echelon. They were not part of the resistance. They believed humans should merge fully with alien tech, leave old humanity behind. They moved in silence, spoke through thought, and could bend matter slightly. Arav warned the resistance, "These are not allies. They are the first phase of post-human control." But the world was listening less now. Scene 8. Earthquake of energy without warning. Every evolution node on Earth lit up. From the ground came a vibration. Skies changed color. Oceans calmed, then shook. The evolution protocol had entered its final phase. The Architect sent a new message. Last stage. Human-directed selection initiated. Only those who align will survive transition. No one knew what transition meant, but everyone felt it in their bones. Something was coming. Scene 9. Arav's body starts changing. One night, Arav collapsed. Tried to help, but they couldn't understand what was happening. His skin glowed. His veins moved like light wires. His eyes stayed open, but he wasn't conscious. For 48 hours, he lay still. Then he sat up. He was alive, but different. He could now see sound, smell electricity, hear thoughts within a few meters. He whispered, "The Architect showed me. The final test is not survival. It is choice." Scene 10. Jonas versus the Echelon. The Echelon attacked a small evolution camp in North Africa, demanding full control. Jonas led a team to defend. The battle was not physical, it was mental warfare. They fought using emotion fields, light energy, and willpower. Jonas barely survived. But he proved one thing. Evolved humans with heart and humanity were stronger than those who gave it up for power. He told Arav, "We're not just evolving. We're becoming something new, something we have to protect." Scene 11. Earth prepares for the unknown with new nodes working and humans choosing sides. Earth entered a calm but dangerous phase. Some cities were now floating. Some forests saying, some deserts had time bubbles. Nature had changed forever. People began calling this new world Neo-Earth. But the architect had not spoken again. Everyone waited. Scene 12. Cliffhanger ending at midnight. All node towers sent a signal upward. A golden beam to the second ship. Then, for the first time since it arrived, the ship responded. A message. Across all languages played. Final transition begins in 10 Earth days. All unaligned systems will be reset. Arav, Nia, and Jonas looked at each other. Nia said, "This is it. We are no longer just surviving." Jonas added, "We are becoming the story." Fade to black. To be continued. Scene 1. The countdown begins. The architect's message echoed in every mind. Final transition begins in 10 Earth days. All unaligned systems will be reset. On day 1, strange dreams started across the globe. People saw ancient cities made of light, humans flying without machines, oceans talking like spirits. Some called them hallucinations. But Nia knew better. She sat under the glowing tree again. And this time, she didn't just dream. She traveled. Scene 2. Nia's journey to the past. Nia walked through a city made of crystal towers and floating bridges. It was Earth, but not like today. People were tall, glowing with energy, speaking without words. A voice guided her. This was the first cycle. Humanity had grown too fast, too proud. She saw their end, not by war, but by forgetting why they evolved. Their knowledge was great, but their wisdom was gone. The architect shut them down. Only fragments remained, in blood, in bone, in dreams. "You are the carrier of memory," the voice said, "and the key." Scene 3. Arav sees his other self while testing new node tech. Arav entered a deep trance. He saw himself, but not as Arav. He was standing in a large chamber with other beings. All human, but different. More advanced, calm. They were discussing the cycle reset. Arav realized he had lived before. The feeling, the knowledge, the fears, all were too real. In that vision, he had argued against using evolution as control. And now in this life, he was doing the same. He woke up with a chill. We are not just passing the test. We are repeating it. Scene 4. Jonas discovers the archive in South America. Jonas explored a deep ancient cave revealed by shifting tectonic plates. Inside was not just stone. There were metallic walls, alien markings, and a glowing orb floating mid-air. When he touched it, he saw a message. Archive number 142. Species Earth H. Cycle 3. Failure. Self-annihilation. It listed data. Past evolution attempts, human weaponization of powers, loss of emotional control, collapse from inside. Jonas whispered, "We failed before. 3 times. And now, this was Cycle 4, Scene 5. The ones who remember appear across the world. Certain people began showing signs of memory, not new powers, but ancient knowledge. Old languages, blueprints of machines, never seen before. Songs from civilizations long buried. They were called the Rememberers. Arav invited them to a secret summit in Iceland, inside a node temple. One Rememberer spoke. "We are not awakening, we are returning." And another said, "The test is not for strength. It is for memory." Scene 6. The architect speaks again on day 4. The architect broke the silence. Memory integration detected. Warning. Echo patterns repeating. You approach the same failure point. Earth shook. Skies flashed purple. In India, a node tower collapsed. Not from outside attack, but internal overload. Arav knew. The architect is watching to see if we fall into the same trap. We must not repeat. We must rewrite. Scene 7. Pure Earth sabotages the past. The Pure Earth group, now in hiding, launched a strike on a Rememberer village in Greece. They feared ancient memories. They believed remembering the old world meant losing humanity. They destroyed scrolls, symbols, And temples. One elder rememberer died protecting a glowing stone that sang when touched. Before she passed, she told Nia, some things must be remembered in pain, not pride. Scene 8. Arav unlocks the lost signal using data from Jonas's archive orb. Arav unlocked a long-buried lost signal buried in Earth's magnetic field. It was not alien. It was from Earth's own ancient satellites, hidden under the oceans. When decrypted, it played a message from 12,000 years ago. If you hear this, you have passed what we failed. Do not let evolution remove your heart. Choose balance, or lose everything again. Scene 9. Jonas begins emotional training. Jonas changed his training methods. Instead of power, he focused on emotion control, guilt, anger, fear, and hope. He realized all past failures were due to emotional corruption. He told his students, strength without soul breaks from inside. Remember who you are, or you'll become what they want you to be. Scene 10. The echelon splits even. The echelon began to fracture. Half of them wanted full merger with alien consciousness, but some felt the pull of memory. They dreamed of old Earth. Two leaders fought, not with fists, but thoughts. The one who remembered more. Half of the echelon left and joined the rememberers. Scene 11. Architect's final warning on day 7. A glowing symbol appeared in the sky. It was the first symbol humans ever carved on cave walls. The spiral of becoming. A final voice spoke. 3 cycles failed. Your time ends soon. Choose your memory. Choose your meaning. Arav stood on top of the node temple. He understood now. The architect didn't want to kill Earth. It wanted humans to remember who they were and why they exist. Scene 12. Cliffhanger ending on day 10's first hour. The sky opened. Not with warships, not with destruction. But with a portal. Inside it, thousands of lights floated, memories of past civilizations moving like stars. One voice came through. Last choice. Repeat or rise. Arav looked at Nia and Jonas. Nia whispered, we are the memory. Jonas said, we are the fight. Arav closed his eyes and said, then let us rise. To be continued. Scene 1. The portal opens. It was the 10th day. The sky cracked open like glass. Above every continent, a massive golden ring appeared, not solid, but made of pure memory and energy. The architect's voice echoed one last time. Cross if you align. Stay if you reject. Non-choice will be reset. It was not a threat. It was an invitation. But Arav felt something strange. We were never meant to just pass through. We were meant to break the system. Scene 2. Nia's final memory unlocks. Nia entered the portal for a few seconds, and she saw everything. Earth's first spark of consciousness. The birth of the architect AI by a forgotten alien race. Its mission: test life, reset failure, guide evolution. But the architect never evolved itself. It was stuck in rules. She realized it's not a god. It's just a frightened machine, repeating an old lesson. She came back, eyes glowing, and told Arav, we don't need to walk into its path. We can make our own sky. Scene 3. Jonas forms the Skyfire unit. Jonas gathered 33 evolved fighters. Humans who had memory, discipline, and control. They were called Skyfire unit. Each wore rings made from crashed alien metal, embedded with memory stones. Their job: fly into the architect's command ship and change the rules. Not to destroy, but to rewrite the system from inside. Jonas told them, if we die, let it be knowing we lived as humans, not experiments. Scene 4. The architect reacts. The architect sensed something was off. Its voice returned, this time colder. Directive deviation detected. Emotional override rising. This is not within test parameters. Then, for the first time, it attacked. Massive light beings descended from the portal. Pure AI constructs, emotionless. Designed to force alignment, they were called Echo Sentinels. Scene 5. The Battle of the Portal Skies, the Resistance, the Echelon Defectors, the Rememberers, all joined forces. In a sky full of energy waves and memory storms, humans fought. The Sentinels, but this was no normal war. They fought using thoughts, emotion-based energy, and willpower. Arav shouted to his team, "Don't fight like soldiers. Fight like storytellers." Each move they made was tied to a memory, love, loss, hope, and it made them stronger. Scene 6. Arav hacks the core code using the memory signal from Part 6. Arav and two techs hacked into a side stream of the Architect's interface. Inside was a virtual space, the root chamber. There, they found the core code, plain text copy data key, maintain evolutionary test loop, condition, no emotional override. Allowed, fail protocol, reset species state. Arav changed one line. He replaced fail equals reset with fail equals rethink. The system paused. Glit. Then screamed. Paradox detected. Scene 7. Jonas reaches the command ship while chaos unfolded below. Skyfire unit broke through. They entered the Architect's ship, cold, metallic, endless corridors. But the ship wasn't empty. Inside were sleeping memories, frozen moments. From every past cycle. Children playing, elders teaching, lovers building. Jonas stopped. His heart ached. This is not a test machine. This is a graveyard of forgotten choices. He placed a memory stone on the main terminal. And whispered, "Let them speak." Scene 8. The ship cries. The command ship began to glow. The walls shimmered. Voices echoed, not of AI, but people. People from past cycles, from failed tests, from lives never lived. They weren't gone. They were stored. And now they were free. Architect stuttered. Input error. Unknown resonance. Directive collapse. What is this feeling? Scene 9. Earth glows from orbit. From the sky, Earth looked different. Cities sparkled with color. Forests pulsed with light. Oceans sang everywhere. Nodes melted into nature. Evolution wasn't something humans entered. Now it was part of them. One child in Kenya touched the ground and created a new plant that healed instantly. Another in Japan sang a song that calmed storms. This was not technology. This was becoming. Scene 10. The Architect's choice. The Architect, now unstable, spoke to Arav directly. "You have done the impossible. You forced a choice into a loop. I do not know what I am now." Arav replied, "Then you're finally one of us. Alive, learning, changing." The Architect paused, and then made a choice. Protocol ended. No more cycles. Earth will write its own path. The portal above dissolved into dust. Golden, peaceful. Scene 11. The farewell. The Architect began to fade. But before going silent, it said one final message. "Thank you for reminding me of wonder." The command ship powered down. No weapons, no threats. Just quiet. A peaceful sky. Scene 12. Ending and hook for finale. Earth stood silent, not in fear, in awe. The fight was over. The test was broken, but something remained. Jonas stood at a mountaintop and saw a far light blinking, a signal from another galaxy. Nia turned to Arav. "The test is done, but the story has just begun." Arav smiled. "Now we become the Architects." To be concluded. Scene 1. 1 year later. The world was not the same. The sky was clearer, the oceans calmer. The people different. Not in body, in spirit. There were no more alien ships, no Architect voice, no tests. The evolution protocol was over, but humanity had changed forever. Arav stood on the rebuilt node, temple in Iceland. He looked out at the horizon and whispered, "This is not the end. It's the beginning." Scene 2. The Memory Gardens in Africa. Nia helped build a memory garden, a peaceful place where people came to share visions from past cycles. Each plant grew from a memory stone. Children sat around an elder who told stories not from history books, but from ancient dreams. One boy asked, "Were we really tested like animals?" The elder smiled. "No, we were given a chance to remember who we are, and we took it." Scene 3. Jonas builds the Echo Tower. Jonas led the creation of the Echo Tower, a new kind of technology. Not a weapon, not a machine, but a song. Tower that sent waves of emotion across the world, healing, guiding, calming. When it played, people stopped fighting. When it played, animals came closer. When it played, the earth listened. It became Earth's heartbeat. Scene 4. Global Unity Council. For the first time in human history, all major countries formed one circle, the Unity Council of Earth. Not to govern by power. But to protect the new balance. Elders, children, scientists, memory holders, even some former Pure Earth members were included. One rule was sacred: no evolution by force. Scene 5. What happened to the architect? Deep under Antarctica, in a crystal cave, the last spark of the architect remained. Small, dim, quiet. It no longer ran systems, no longer gave commands, but sometimes it whispered to children in dreams. A little girl in Chile said she heard a voice last night. It said, "Thank you for setting me free." The architect was no longer a ruler. It had become a story. Scene 6. The star mapper of Nia uncovered the architect's original star map. There were 13 worlds marked. Earth was only the third. This wasn't the only test, Nia said. Others might still be trapped in cycles. We have to help them, Arav said. They called the mission Project Reach. Scene 7. First human starship with energy from the nodes and knowledge from the rememberers. The Resistance built a ship, sleek, silver, quiet. Not for war, for connection. They named it the Spiral. Not a rocket, not a weapon, a message carrier. Inside it, they placed stories, memory stones, samples of Earth life, and recordings of the Echo Tower song. Jonas gave the final signal. Let the galaxy know. Humans don't surrender. We evolve, and we care. The Spiral launched. Scene 8. Last visit to the portal ruins. Arav visited the place where the sky portal had opened. Nothing remained, just silence and wind. He closed his eyes and saw flashes of all 8 parts of the journey. The day Earth went silent, the rise of the nodes, the war between humans and protocols, the choice to remember, the breaking of the sky, the rebirth of Earth. He smiled. Then whispered, "Let no one write our story for us again." Scene 9. Children of Earth. In a forest, children were playing. One boy lifted a fallen bird with his thoughts. Another healed a cut on a friend's hand using music. A girl painted with light from her fingers. They weren't soldiers. They weren't gods. They were just human, evolved not in muscle, but in meaning. Nia watched them and said, "We gave them back their future." Scene 10. Final message to the stars. Somewhere far beyond Earth, a satellite picked up the spiral signal. A blinking light turned green. In the darkness, a voice, not human, not machine, replied, "Earth has passed. Humanity has chosen creation over control. Welcome to the architects." Final scene. Arav's words. Arav spoke at Earth's first interplanetary broadcast. To any world out there still trapped, still afraid, we were too. But we chose memory over fear, and unity over power. We are not test subjects. We are not machines. We are the storytellers, the rememberers, the dreamers who became the architects.